6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
The Ramble with Alex Bennett, tonight at 10:30 Eastern on GabNet.
What happens when you combine the largest broadcaster in America with a puny, insignificant podcaster? You get the huge platform of iHeartRadio and Alex Bennett's Ramble. Yes, now the Ramble is being carried on iHeartRadio as one of thousands of podcasts they make available. Now the big question is, how do we navigate this clutter? The answer is you. Go to iHeartRadio.com, then to their podcast section and search for Alex Bennett's Ramble. Once you've found it, make it a favorite. If enough of you do it, we could make that 15-year-old girl with her makeup tips step aside for the new king of podcasting. Okay, who am I kidding? She's about 2 million subscribers ahead of us, but it will help to put us on the map. The Ramble and iHeartRadio. Proof that Alex isn't good enough to be on one of their radio stations, but they are desperate enough to feature the Alex Bennett's Ramble podcast. A match made in broadcasting heaven. The Ramble from GabNet. Talk like iHeart and you have never heard before.
Jack Bishop's Intersection, tonight at midnight Eastern on GabNet.
GabNet's creator and founder, Alex Bennett, is always looking for ways to stay on the cutting edge. He first revolutionized commercial radio. He built a career on being one of the first to speak to the new generation of the 60s. Then he reinvented himself on morning drive radio, where he was the first to use a live studio audience and guest comedians each morning. Another ratings winner. Next, Alex took off for outer space as he brought his unique perspective on politics and news to the satellites. Always a pioneer, his next stop was to create a unique format that no one else had ever done, with citizen panels on the internet. What's next? Is there any place left to innovate? Are there any stones left unturned? Introducing GabNet Live on Roku. That's right, GabNet Live on Roku. No lies, because you can't lie on the internet. GabNet is now available on your TV. You can listen to GabNet's 24/7 network stream or browse your favorite GabNet shows from the archives, just like on Gabnet.net. But that's not all. You can also watch video of Alex's archived live stream TV programs, as well as his televised Friday Night Ramble. It's all there for you, and all you have to do is turn on your Roku device, search the Roku store for GabNet Live, and add the channel to your lineup. Then sit back and enjoy. It's GabNet Live on Roku. Thanks, Alex. Talk like you've never heard it before is now talk like you've never seen it before. Alex Bennett's Ramble is now in video. Log on to Alex's Facebook page at facebook.com/abennett every Tuesday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern and experience the Citizen Panel like never before. We put a face to people like Phil, Patrick, Renee, Kevin, Tony, Jeff, Bree, Brian, and all of our regulars. And Alex is there too, in his PJs. Just be glad he isn't naked. You can be one of those people who gets seen and not just heard by calling into Skype. For more information on how to Skype us, just go to Gabnet.net. You can dress any way you want, provided it's decent. GabNet is now not just talk and not just a pretty face. So why don't you add yours?
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is The Ramble. I'm Alex, and we'll be here until midnight Eastern Daylight Time here on the least infected city in America. Ladies and gentlemen, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the puss. Look at the puss.
Look at this, the new haircut, brand new.
Oh, really? Where'd you get it?
Thank you, Joanna. Believe it or not, I got it at Supercuts. My friend Joanna does great work there. She deserves better, but
yeah, I don't have to tell people that this is Stephen Pearl because I have an actual thing that says Stephen Pearl. So
yeah, there it is. I can see it.
Yeah. So how are you doing, Stephen?
Horrible. I'm in hell. My air conditioning broke down a few days ago. It's over 100 here. My landlord's in Japan, and she refuses to fix it. So I'm in the middle. I'm at war with Japan right now. So I don't know what to do.
Oh, wait a minute. So is it central air conditioning?
Yeah.
Oh, so you can't do anything about it. So why doesn't she call somebody to come in and fix it?
No, she's nuts. She's not. Ain't right. She used to be a friend. She's not a friend anymore. You broke it. You fix it. You use it. You broke it. I'm not fixed. And I got the whole law on my side, but I just gotta, what do you do? She's out of the country, so how do you get her?
Well, something. There's got to be some organization you can go to, city-run or state-run, that deals with this sort of thing, because this is dangerous for you.
This is life and death. This is bad.
How old are you now?
64. I got 852 on top of that.
You're 1 year away from calling yourself a senior.
I'm a senior now, Daddy.
Yeah. I would call some kind of
I found the tenants' rights thing, and I called them and I left them a message 2 days ago. I haven't heard anything today. I left them another message, and I think they're waiting for me to die, and then they can get it on.
Then they can do something about it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what else to do. So I talked to lawyers, I talked to the police, I talked to the HOA. They don't do shit. They just say your mailbox is half an inch too tall. You'll have to get a new mailbox.
This isn't right.
So it's just bullshit. It's horrible. I got fans going, but they're just blowing in hot air, and I'm like pouring. I'm just getting in the bathtub every 5 seconds and pouring cold water on myself.
My fans are blowing hot air, but unfortunately, they're the ones that call me every night on this program.
There you go.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be here all week.
There ought to be a law on these lady drivers. I tell you, these beatings today.
So anyway, how's the COVID? How's with the COVID?
Oh, I don't know. It's weird. I go to my gym and it says you must wear a mask coming to the gym, but you don't have to wear a mask when you're using the machines. But when you walk from machine to machine, you have to wear a mask. And when you're back on the other machine, you don't have to wear a mask. What the fuck does that mean? It's bullshit. It's these Abbott and Costello rules. I don't get it.
Yeah. I think that your best bet right now, in the way this pandemic is playing itself out, is to not go to the gym.
Yeah, but I got it. So
well, you got it. What are you doing it for? Good health? If you're dead, it doesn't.
Good health.
If you're dead, it doesn't matter.
Well, but I'll die in good shape. I may have to push the gates of heaven, the pearly gates open.
But I mean, I understand your desire to keep fit and so on.
It just feels good to do it, and I like going there like 3 a.m. when I'm the only guy there.
I got my wife bought a what are the Pentalons or Pentalions or whatever it's called, the
dumbbells, dumbbell.
The Plentian. Well, anyway, that bike, the stationary bike, right? And she's now up to doing 15 miles a day.
Wow.
And I go, so where did you go? And she went, I was on the bike. And I go, gee, why don't you just get a bike?
Yeah.
So then she subscribed to City Bike for a year for $100, so she can get any of the city bikes around the city. And she said when she's finally going back to work, she's going to take a city bike to work.
Oh, a city bike, one of those.
Yeah. I mean, this is her. She's a junkie for endorphins. Yeah, but but working out's healthy. It's good.
Yeah, I don't go overboard. I do a nice little 20-minute workout, and I feel good. Then I come home. Then I
suddenly realized I'm not wearing my hat.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You need a haircut.
No. I have a haircut here, but I you know what else I forgot to do? Look, I'm gonna put on the lights. See?
Oh, beautiful! Look at that, amber.
I forgot to do that. Well, let me go get my hat.
Okay, get your hat. Get the plaid beret.
Let me see here. Where's my communist hat? Here we go. I got this in China. This is a Chinese military hat.
Chairman Hellman's Mayo.
Yeah, Chairman Alex.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway.
Comes out of the barrel of a gun.
You know why I forgot to turn on the lights, folks, and why I forgot to put my hat on? Is because he got in here early.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were here way before you were supposed to be here.
Yeah, I turned it on so I'd have it on when I was like,
Yeah, and so I didn't even think about putting my my hat on and turning the lights on and getting prepared and ready for this. But now it's about the time you would have called, so now it's all working.
There you go. Here we are. By the way, my landlord's name is Tamayo Atsuki, and she's a piece of shit. Thank you.
Let me see here. Can we get sued for that? No, maybe if she's realistically a piece of shit,
Well, she's hiding out in Japan, so I can't
Well,
get her.
I mean, really, all she has to do is call whoever is in whatever company she employs to fix the air conditioning.
We'll do it. Get it. You broke it. You fix it.
So what's wrong? It just doesn't go on?
It doesn't go on. No, I had someone out to look at it. He said the whole thing was shot. It was an old unit. It's a $3,600 job. It's the real. It was like Freon or something. I would have paid for it myself. I wouldn't have cared. But it's an old thing. It just died.
Yeah, but wait a minute, you say it's central air conditioning, but each apartment has its own air conditioning?
I guess it wasn't central. It says each apartment has its own unit.
Oh, so it's a wall unit.
No. And you turn the little thermostat, you turn it on, you're supposed to get cool. And there's something outside that spins around.
Oh, I see. And each apartment has its own unit outside. I see. I get it.
About as cool but me.
Well, she's got to replace that. She got to hire somebody to come in and replace it. That's she owns the place. She owns the place. She's got to fix it. She has,
fix
if
you move. I fix if you move.
I believe there are probably laws in the state of Nevada because of the heat.
Oh, sure.
That apply to that because they would apply to no heat during winter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I would say that is an essential, and you're slowly dying in this pizza oven.
Oh, it's lovely. I'm going to Carl LeBeau's place today to enjoy his air conditioning. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, can I come over? Put the thing on 10.
They have air conditioning. Please, can I come
watch those movies, and those could be cool.
We want the air conditioning.
We're having Ned Glass Film Festival.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see here. You're fighting no air conditioning. I'd invite you over here.
Yeah, what train do I take?
Yeah, plus the fact is, if you come here, I don't know if you're in one of the states that we're quarantining here in New York. We have a quarantine for out-of-state people. But if you come into this state, we ask you to quarantine yourself for 14 days if you're from any number of states that we consider to be toxic.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who would put up with me for 14 days.
Because we so cleaned up here in New York. You wouldn't believe the subways. I haven't seen them yet, but Marjorie took a ride on one, and she said they are so clean they glisten.
Jeez. You can eat eggs off the platform.
Whoever remember, clean and subways, the two the smell. It's an oxymoron or something like that.
I still remember the smells of New York. Who took a
Do you remember in New York subways years ago, and you wonder why? Okay, you have a vending machine in the subway. Do you remember the vending machines?
I remember those. Yeah, the ones from 1958.
Did you ever buy anything?
Oh, God, no. Nothing would come out anyway, like a hand, a skeleton of a hand.
Well, no, if you pulled it and you got your candy, it was probably like 20 years old and was rotting.
Yeah. Eisenhower would have enjoyed that candy.
You didn't want to buy anything in the subway. That's why they don't serve hot dogs in the subway. It's just.
Yeah, steak and lobster in the subway.
Steak and lobster.
Ask for more. Yeah, Troy, steak and lobster.
I think I'll go down to the subway to get some lobster bisque.
There was a great record store in the subway, I think on 42nd Street, Downstairs Records.
Oh, really?
At a 45s, they had a turntable where you could play. It was like a 1950s old record shop. And they were down in the subway, so you could go in and, you got records and smell urine at the same time.
Well, at 57th Street, there is a upper level in the subway, and they've started a mall in there. Where they have hot dogs and they have, Jiffy Pop and all things like that,
Yeah, my God.
But I still wouldn't eat anything out of the subway.
No.
Listen, I still... But tell me something. Here in New York, we have something most people don't even know what I'm talking about in any other city. But we have these hot dog trucks that are in this murky water that's been cooking.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
let's give you $1 to drink that.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, they're damn good hot dogs. They're like Sabret hot dogs, and you get them, and they put the sauerkraut on there. But it's street hot dogs.
Hey, I tried one that had a vein in it, boy. Hey, here's Betty for now. No, I won't eat those Subway hot dogs.
You wouldn't eat the Subway hot
Needix
dogs?
Hot dogs, they were good. Remember Needix?
Needix?
Remember Zum Zum? Remember the Zum Zum in New York?
Now you see, you're going back further than I do. See, you lived in New York.
No, they had this. They had Zum Zum when you were there. So
Really, Zum Zum. I seem to vaguely remember
They
it.
had good breakfast, and they had like that. And if you were underage, they'd give you a beer. So we used to go to the Central Park concerts in the summer. We go to Zum Zum first, get loaded, and have a couple of hot dogs and drink more dark beer. You minors? Yes, you can have them. Put something into Juice drink. And we get plowed there, and then we go to Central Park. Zum Zum was cool, man.
There was a place here in New York. I don't know if you were around for this, called Bagel Nosh. Do you remember Bagel Nosh?
I remember Bagel Nosh.
And you would go into Bagel Nosh, and all the people making the bagels and serving the bagels were Chinese.
Yeah, sure.
It just doesn't compute. If you're Jewish, that just doesn't compute.
I've seen Mexicans working at Chinese restaurants. The world's gone topsy-turvy.
Have you ever gone to a Chinese Spanish restaurant?
No.
There was one on 14th Street I used to go to all the time. And you could order tripe, which I love. You could order tripe and chow mein.
Oh, my God.
You know, I mean, it was this, I don't know what day some guy woke up and said, I think I'm going to serve Chinese food. But you know something? I also like Mexican food. I'll serve both.
What you been smoking, Whoa Hop Rodriguez?
Yeah, but I remember that. It was right across the street from Screw Magazine where I had the Midnight Blue offices. And we used to go over there for lunch. And I love the tripe, so I'd order the tripe. And I also like the egg roll, so I'd order an egg roll.
Ah, excellent.
And but I could never figure out how they equated the two cuisines.
Yeah, let's go together.
Because do they have anything in common?
Yeah, it's like cheesecake and clams. Come on. What harm could it?
Cheesecake and clams. Would you buy cheesecake in the Subway?
Oh, God, I wouldn't buy clams in the Subway. Road clams, Subway clams.
No. Yeah. I just, boy, I really, New York is a food lover's heaven.
Oh, sure. Oh,
you know, because as I said, on every street, there are at least 5 different businesses serving food. On every street.
Yep.
You know, you'd have like on every corner, you'd have like a hot dog place, you'd have a walk-in sushi place, you'd have a this, you'd have a that, and then maybe in the middle of the block, you'd have 2 more stores serving food.
Yeah, sure. Certainly.
It's just the main thing they serve in New York is food.
Yep. Food
And
and misery.
it's a very hard place to go on a diet.
Oh, yeah, it's hard. It's like coming to Vegas.
Yeah, and then also the stuff that's really fattening, they make the best of. They make the best cheesecake here.
Sure, yeah.
You know.
We ain't talking salads. We ain't talking bean salads. We're talking a good Elvis food. Man.
Yeah, we're talking Elvis food, right? Yeah. So anyway,
Give me that chocolate turkey and stuff with more cheesecake.
yeah, give me. What did he used to have a butternut or something? What was it he used to like?
A fried peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Yeah, peanut butter and
Have one
banana.
of those? They are good, and they're like heroin. If you have more than one, you'll die.
Yeah, but
man,
whoever invented that?
Must be some old hillbilly dish.
I mean, was it 2 people who ran into each other like on that commercial and goes, I like peanut butter. I like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nutter butter. That's what he called it. A nutter butter sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Hey, listen.
My favorite. You got Savior on my peanut butter. Jesus peanut butter cup.
I just looked, and we've only got about 30 seconds left. Do you want to plug where you're playing next?
Yeah. I'll be getting a gun to shoot my landlord with Tamaya Watsuki, who is not turning the air conditioner. See, I'm sweating. I'm sweating like Lindsay Lohan at a sobriety checkpoint here. Yeah, well, I'm tough, though. I'm strong like bull. I will win.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Stephen Pearl. Thank you so much, Stephen. We appreciate
Alex.
it.
Always good to see you.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Always fun talking to Stephen Pearl, ladies and gentlemen. Let me turn up my microphone here. Let me give myself a little bass, a little treble. Get ourselves all in sounding good. Okay, all right. Hello there. How you doing? It's Thursday already. It's Thursday already. Listen, we played something at the start of the show tonight that we're probably maybe going to play most nights, maybe even more when they make more of them. The governor of the state of New York got some people together to make some public service announcements, not just for New York, but for the rest of the country. And he is going to let anybody who wants to run these things around the country run them. And I used one of them tonight to start off the show, and I'm going to continue to use it every night for a while because, you know, we've been running that thing. It goes, you know, COVID's, blah, 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 blah. And that's been really nice, but now I got something quite visual and with a very professional voice, and I figure I can play it because it was produced by the state of New York as a public service, which means that it pretty much can be used by anybody without getting sued. And I thought I would just play it again for those of you who didn't join us earlier at the very beginning. You don't sit there with bated breath waiting for the show so you can see what this is all about. Wow. Isn't that great, huh? I love that. I just love that. And, of course, that's Morgan Freeman. But what a great ad. And that was commissioned by the state of New York. Mario Cuomo asking for it to Mario Cuomo. I keep saying that. Andrew Cuomo. I so loved his father. Andrew Cuomo doing the voice on that thing. And it's really good. I think it's really, really terrific. Well, I think it's time for us to try to admit some people into our little fold here. And do a, let me see here, do a Zoom panel, as it were. How did that happen? That shouldn't be. Oh, I see. That's why. Okay, now we're fine, and I will go to the Zoom panel there. And the only Zoom panelist we have so far is Phil Meyer. Hello, Phil.
Hey.
How you doing?
You know, when you were talking about restaurants in New York, I remember my aunt, when I was a real little kid, she took me to an automat. I think it was called Horn and Hardrock. Mm-hmm. And I was so amazed that you put the money in, you open the door, you got the sandwich, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden somebody behind the thing stuck another sandwich in there. And it could be a different sandwich, too.
See, I play this wonderful thing about wearing a mask, and the first thing you come up with is food.
Behind the thing, stuck another sandwich in there.
Oh, wait a minute. Your audio's up there, Jeff.
Yeah,
okay.
Wonderful.
Jeff, you have your audio. You have the.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was the first part of the conversation, and that you had earlier. Was the food thing, and I thought it was very enjoyable. Mm-hmm. As far as wearing the mask, you played it earlier, and it was it's a good PSA. It's well produced.
It's well produced, and the sentiment is correct. Mm-hmm. It's a good sentiment. It's like we do this for each other. Okay. No. I wear a mask.
I'm doing it for me because I didn't brush my teeth.
No, I'm doing it. Well, no, then you're doing it for us. No, I mean, you wear a mask. Oh, here, let's see here. Are there any people? Oh, no, nobody. Oh, there's Charlie Wallace. Okay. With the, the whole idea of wearing the mask is really that you're doing something for somebody else. It's your respect for somebody else.
Well, this is the protocols that we're getting. Mm-hmm. That's why I spent $400 on a little stand that holds something to squirt in your hands, so you can clean your hands.
Yeah, Well, I have something you can squirt in your hand.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Let's see. Here comes Bud Doses, and that would, of course, be Bud. Well, I'm going to call you whatever you put in there. Okay. I'm even forgetting your real name now.
And that would, of course, be. But we'll call you, I'm going to call you whatever
Wait a minute.
you put in.
Well,
Everybody
else somebody else has their audio on.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
This is going to cost you guys with the audio probably 50 GabNet bucks.
Yeah, we're going to have to charge you 50 GabNet bucks every time you do that.
Right.
No, I think that the idea behind the mask is not protecting yourself. You're protecting somebody else, and he's protecting you.
I got news for you. I'm protecting myself.
Well, but that's not going to protect you.
Yeah, it will.
No.
It'll keep the airborne stuff from hitting my face.
No, it won't. Both people have to be wearing masks for that to work.
Well, usually they are.
Well, you say usually they are. Today, I was amazed. I went out. Hold on a second. I got to close this door. This door opened up on me. Oh.
Hold her, guys.
There we go. Because if I don't close it, Marjorie will come in here and go, the door's open. It's keeping me up. Anyway, where was I?
You were saying about the wearing the mask.
Yeah. I mean, it is just simply being a decent person towards other people, and having respect for your neighbor in a time when they really need your help, okay? And let me just turn the air conditioning down. There we go. So, I mean, that's really what the whole mask wearing thing is about. Well, how it became political, I have no idea. There's nothing political about wearing a mask.
I think that political thing has been driven by the media.
No, Phil, don't blame everything on the media.
Yeah, absolutely.
Donald Trump.
It's Donald Trump.
They pushed it as
Donald Trump personally believed that when people wore masks, it was saying something against him.
No, that's
yes, he did.
He said he didn't need to do it.
And then Fox was pushing it too.
What?
Fox was, all those guys on Fox were saying, oh, it's not really needed, and
Yeah.
That's what we were told.
Well, no, we weren't told that, Phil. We were told for a short time that we didn't know. There were a lot of things we didn't know, Phil.
Your friend Fauci just walked back a statement because he made a statement that he said that this coronavirus was worse than the Spanish flu.
It is.
18.
It is.
No, he just walked it back. It's not.
No. If you want to talk about sheer numbers, yes, because we didn't have the medicine then. But if we had to handle the Spanish flu today, given the medicine we have now, it would hardly have been a threat.
No.
Then why did he walk back?
Charlie, what you said? No. What?
No, I was agreeing with you. It wouldn't be a threat now because of our antibiotics. Just like the bubonic plague isn't really a threat now.
Bubonic plague is still around, by the way.
Yep.
But it's just if somebody gets it, it's a shot.
Yeah, antibiotics, take it out.
Yes, Jeff. Yes, Jeff. Jeff, you got to turn your microphone on. Yeah. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
My grandfather did a lot of work during World War II in Brooklyn at the Navy Yard.
Yeah.
Okay. And he cut his leg at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
They had to cut it off. Huh?
He had to cut his leg off. And you know what? The regular medications that anybody would have today, they didn't have it.
They didn't have antibiotics.
They didn't have antibiotics. So I remember him with that leg got shorter and shorter because they cut some of it off.
Yeah.
And then ultimately he died a couple of years later.
Mm-hmm.
Leg.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that I don't think Fauci is wrong to say that it's worse than the Spanish flu because it's far more insidious than the Spanish flu.
And it's not over.
And
why did he say?
I didn't hear him walk it back, so I can't testify to the fact that he did. Anybody hear that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I hadn't heard that either.
Where did you hear it, Phil?
News.
What news?
The communist news. No, it was Fox.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And we're on Fox. Who in particular?
I don't know. I was listening. I get Sirius Fox in the car, so whatever's on TV, I can hear in the car, but I have no idea who it is.
All right. But I mean, I hadn't heard that Fauci walked that back, and if he walked it back, I don't think he needed to. Hey there, Rob. I love looking at you now with that studio. I'm so jealous. I feel like you've got a job in radio now.
Yeah. It looks that way, but it's not that way.
It looks great.
Well, that's what was my plan.
Yeah, you want to feel like you're in a studio.
Yeah, I would love to do these walls all in. I would love to get all the sheetrock out of here and do these walls, or at least cover the sheetrock.
Well, see, I can't see. We can't see the sheetrock.
Well, you do.
Oh, is that sheetrock over there?
Underneath those panels on that wall.
Oh, okay. I thought it looks like it's painted. It looks like it's olive.
Yeah, no, it's painted. It's blue.
Yeah.
Olive.
Alex, remember those ugly foam things I sent you?
Yes.
Rob would like them.
Yeah, I don't want to do those. I wanted to do like a carpet.
Yeah.
Like I don't really like the look of those things.
Yeah. You know what I did? I'll tell you what I did when I was working in San Francisco. We moved into a new studio. They left their old studios. What they had in their old studios as soundproofing was what was that stuff, that Sonex or whatever, that you know what I'm talking about? It had ridges on it, and it was foam, and it was very expensive.
Yeah,
but they pulled it all out, so I took it home and I did my whole studio with that stuff. It's great soundproofing.
Yeah, it's like hundreds of dollars a panel, isn't it?
No, it's not hundreds of dollars a panel, but it's pretty damn expensive. So anyway, but you know what you can use that works just as well as that? Egg separators.
Yeah, but I want it to look nice.
Yeah,
That's
I know,
problem.
but I remember when I worked at KQ.
I've got on the floor over here.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of blankets. They're like moving blankets, only they're for soundproofing.
Yeah.
And I could put them up here on the wall.
Yeah.
And it'll deaden the sound of the wall and stuff. I just don't like the way they look.
You know what? You don't really need soundproofing as much today. The reason being that microphones have gotten so much better and directional.
This room, when I'm on the air on my radio station and I have no music under me, this room is so loud.
Really?
You can hear. Oh, yeah. With the processing on the radio station and the processing on the mic, when there's no music under me, it sounds horrible. I just haven't found what I want to cover it with it yet.
Yeah. Well, but I remember when I was working at KQED in San Francisco originally in their early studios when they were a poor PBS station. Now they're a rich PBS station, but when they were a poor PBS station, and they had all their audio studios covered in egg separators.
Wow.
Because it made great soundproofing.
Oh, sure, yeah, that'll break all the waves. That's what it is. It's bouncing waves. That'll break that up.
Yeah, but today microphones are so directional that you don't really get the room echo as easily. I mean, like I have an echo in this room, but it doesn't. You can't hear an echo on my mic.
Well, you also, and it's interesting too because your whole front wall is all mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing that you don't get a lot more.
No, I mean, how does it sound? I don't sound like I've got a lot of.
But you also have no processing. Your mic's not processed. You don't run processing on the signal. That's a big, because I don't hear it now either. And I don't hear it when I'm on GabNet.
Well, I can process it a little bit. I can turn my bass off completely.
No, I don't mean that. I mean audio process. I've got a DBX, unit on this microphone only.
Yeah.
And then the radio station has a lot of processing on it. So when you hear, this limiter, compressor, pre-stage limiter, blah blah, you name it, it's on.
Wow.
And
most people have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, radio stations are highly processed, right? And they always process the mic separately. And this is an RE20 microphone. This is a radio station broadcast mic. Here it sounds wonderful. I get on GabNet. I mean, if I get on my station and I'm in the clear, which is rare because it's no commercials, right? But if I stop for something, I'm like, holy shit, it sounds horrible in here.
Really?
It's because of the processing.
Oh, there's the cutie again. I showed my wife your daughter today, and she
really?
did agree that is that's the poster child for anything. You know, yeah, she could be. You can feed a hungry child, or you can turn the page. There she is.
Say hi to Alex first.
Yeah. Hi, Adrian. Could you just look really sad? Look really sad. See, you can feed a hungry child, or you can turn the page.
Okay. Bye.
Oh boy. Yeah, you leave. Let her stay. Yeah,
Say bye.
She's so lucky.
Hey, go.
He's lucky
my gosh,
in two ways.
He
has a great-looking kid. He has a great-looking wife, and he can give himself a COVID test anytime he wants.
Can you really?
No, if I was single, man, I could hook up with all the girls, though.
Yeah, right. You could really hook up.
I'd be like, hey, baby, you want to get tested? Come with me.
Yeah.
It used to mean something else.
Yeah.
First we have to do a temperature check.
Now we have to have a battery of tests before you
hear
get
that?
some. Let's start with COVID, then we'll move on to all the others.
I think
there's no pregnancy test, though.
Did you hear that they in Europe they came out with a test that you blow into something, and within 2 minutes they can tell you whether you have COVID or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that would be good. You know, I mean, because what's happening in Texas, for instance, Charlie's home state, you take a COVID test and come back next year, we'll give you the results. You know, anything more than 3 days, I think Fauci said this, anything more than 3 days to get results, you may as well not take it.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, our stuff is at the medical facilities, so they're not out there where they're doing these parking lot tests.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, these, I can't believe how long, and the stuff that we do with like HIV in England, where they do a test and they leave, and then we text them.
Yeah.
So modern. We have such modern technology for these tests, and we're just blowing it. I don't know why they were saying 5 days and a week. It's too late.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Of course, you've got a real problem there, Charlie, in Texas, because you got this governor who's an idiot. The biggest idiot, though, is the governor of Georgia.
I don't know. It's a toss-up between him and DeSantis in Florida.
Really?
Yeah. Toss-up. That's a tough one.
Yeah, but what happened is that the mayor of Atlanta put out a proclamation that everyone should wear a mask, okay, or has to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And the governor of Georgia said, I rescind that. She can't say that. You don't have to wear a mask. And now she's suing him, or he's suing her, or he's suing her. Because she wants to keep her city safe, and I think she has the right to.
And she tested positive, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what I found out today? I didn't know. What's his name? Chris Cuomo, over at CNN, got COVID, like back in March, I think it was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this. His wife came down with it, and his daughter, I think, came down with it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was very irresponsible while he was supposed to be quarantining. He was out and about in Long Island.
No.
He has a house on the island, and I guess somebody saw him out, got his picture, and shamed him.
Where was that, Fox?
He was out in front of his house.
I didn't hear that. Every night he was in his basement.
There's a lot you don't hear, Brian.
Yeah, and there's a lot you hear.
And there's also an alternate reality world that Fox viewers hear. So
they had pictures.
Yeah, but you can't verify when those were taken.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Phil, you send me a lot of stuff. Please send me that picture.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
And
find
Phil,
it.
you send me a lot of stuff. Don't send me any more. Yeah. What were you going to say? You've used so many different names now. I forgot your name.
Bud.
Doses. Bud. Well, you had your hand.
I saw it. It was some random guy had pulled out a cell phone in front of his house. He was out on his lawn and started filming him out on his lawn.
I thought he was out somewhere
No.
beside his house. He was exercising or jogging.
Well, you thought, but he saw.
Nah, just because he saw what he thought doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Just because you say that you thought that he saw that she thought doesn't mean that you thought that it was.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I got in an argument with the guy, and he was yelling at the dude for filming him.
Yeah, he got caught.
Outside of his house?
Outside his own house.
Yeah.
Out and about.
Outside of his house.
Out his house.
Well, no, it's a question where you want to quarantine yourself. You know? That's really what it's all about. And I'm sure he felt it would be better to go out into the island and quarantine himself there than to sit in Manhattan and quarantine himself in Manhattan. And he hadn't gotten the results back yet either, according to what you said, Phil.
At that time.
He hadn't gotten the results back, right, Phil?
No, he had.
Oh, he had. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear what Bambi said today?
Who, Bambi?
Yeah, Bambi, the press secretary.
Oh, the press secretary. I watched her. I watched her today.
Harvey.
She goes, don't let science get in the way of opening up the schools.
Did she say that?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Because we don't want to let science get in the way of opening up the schools.
Didn't want to let science get in the way of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want science to tell me I can't fly like a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the emails and the voicemails from the schools today saying that they're going to start. It'll be online for the beginning, at least the fall semester. So.
Good.
Yeah.
By the way, our latest rate here, we had 813 total hospitalizations yesterday, which is down. That's 300 total hospitalizations. Not new hospitalizations, but hospitalizations. And the state conducted 72,685 tests, of which 769, or 1.06%, were positive. But sadly, yesterday we lost like 5 people. Day before yesterday. Yesterday we lost 14 New Yorkers. So,
jeez, if you guys were that low, I would think the whole U.S. would have been done by now. I thought you guys would be the last ones to come down.
Yeah, you would have thought. If the rest of the country had been measured in their approach, but they weren't. And so, you know, it's all hell is broken loose. I saw a prediction today. I can't remember who was making the prediction that it could well be that 50% of America will eventually come down with COVID.
Shit.
Yeah.
If we don't put the brakes on now, Charlie.
Yeah, you remember when DeSantis was talking about how bad New York was and Florida's not New York? Well, today Florida's going to pass New York in total number of COVID cases.
Well, New York, of course, New York is the most populous state in the nation. So we were bound to have more cases than, say, a state that had less of a population. But we also were a landing spot for people coming into this country with COVID, you know. And plus, you add to that the density of population. I don't think... Rob, is there any other denser city than New York City for population? You know, so we had...
And Florida should be ashamed of themselves. Yes, they have a large population, but it's a lot of real estate.
A lot of real estate and a lot of room for people to move around, and they shouldn't have, you know, but they got stupid.
Yeah.
The governor...
Stupid governor.
The trouble was that all these governors were trying to go in lockstep with our president, who was their gang leader, and they were trying to go in lockstep with him. And as a result of going in lockstep with him, people got infected because we can't close down. That would be saying that Trump is wrong. We can't have people wear masks. That's an insult to Trump. You know, and I think that the minute politics was a deciding factor in any decisions being made, we were in trouble.
That's right.
Yes, Tony.
You know, I was going to ask you too, Alex. I was thinking about it. You know, the end of last year. You know, if you really think about New York is no questions the epicenter, but if you really think about one moment that could have really got us infected, New Year's Eve, that whole weekend.
But New Year's Eve, we probably did get infected on New Year's Eve. I mean,
how many people do you think came in that weekend?
Well, no, but I mean, the thing is that New Year's Eve, we didn't have COVID at that point.
Right.
We didn't.
Oh, you don't think it was in yet?
No, we didn't start hearing really about COVID till January 15th.
Late January, wasn't it?
Well, January 15th, I think, is when we heard about Wuhan.
Wasn't the first person to get infected in the Silicon Valley?
I think it turned out to be,
and I think that was the first person to die, wasn't it, Brian?
Santa Clara, yeah.
Okay.
I thought Seattle had a.
They
thought it was Seattle. Yeah,
At first they thought that, but then later they found out that this person who had died on February 6th actually died from COVID.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel very happy that we live in New York, but we're worried here in New York. We're worried that it's going to come back because we're in a situation where we're clean now for the most part, but the rest of the country isn't. And we live as part of this country, and they're going to come here, and we're doing everything we can to stop it. We're having them sign a thing at the airport about where they're going to be staying and telling them they have to quarantine themselves there for 14 days.
What happens?
Well,
who has a flight that's 14 days?
Well, of course, that's the problem. There's another problem. Can I finish? There's another problem, and the other problem is that people drive into the state. And, if we see a license plate coming into the state from a state that, like Florida, we could stop them, but we then tell them what they have to do.
It gets increasingly difficult to stop because there are no borders.
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing for us to do. So all we can do is ask all you motherfuckers to stay out of New York. Okay.
Hey, Alex, you don't have to worry about COVID in New York anymore, but you do have to worry about drive-by shootings.
No, we don't.
Yeah, okay. And don't walk across the street.
No, we don't, Phil. I mean, come on.
Sure.
The stuff. Tony, do you want to say something? Because you had your hand up, and
No,
Phil,
okay.
Phil had his hand up, and he was going me, and so I forgot to go to you. What were you going to
There's
say?
no equivalency between coronavirus and drive-by shootings.
I was talking about New York and the dangers that are.
Well, no. He's trying to change the subject because when you get back to coronavirus, you talk about the dereliction of duty of the President of the United States.
You're so full of shit. The president is doing the right job. The problem is that your mayor is causing you to be in danger.
Well, to begin with, you don't have to tell me de Blasio's a piece of crap, okay? And I don't think you have to tell Tony that. And I don't think Jeff would disagree with that assumption. And
de Blasio was crap from the beginning.
Yeah, but the reason, and he went on the air and said it the other day, and I said it before he ever said it, was the reason why these shootings are happening is because of COVID. Now, you say, why? Don't give me that look, Phil. The reason why COVID has something to do with it is because the people staying indoors all winter long, the minute things started lightening up and the sun came out, they started going a little crazy. And so people with guns got even crazier. And you're the one that thinks guns are a good idea, Phil.
Not in the hands of MS-13 and the gang members in the Bronx and Brooklyn that are shooting people as a rite of passage.
You use MS-13 as a big bugaboo, but show me a case of where MS-13 has done something.
There's plenty of cases.
Well, give me one. Give me one.
Hey, who chopped up that tech executive in Midtown?
Well,
I don't know. I don't think they know.
Yeah.
They think it's a professional job.
Yeah. Well,
why are you all of a sudden? It's MS-13, Phil?
Yeah, why not?
He was a rich
Yeah,
guy.
why not? See, I mean, that you're doing what Trump does. You create these mythical enemies, like what was it, Afata, or what is it? What is it? Antifa, yeah, Antifa. Antifa. I quite frankly, I barely think it exists.
I was going to say, I never heard of this before. If you say it enough, I believe.
Well, because Trump invents them. He invents them as straw dogs to be able to scare the public.
How about the Warriors?
Hey,
Warriors, come out and play.
I can't wear my Hawaiian shirts anymore without worrying I'm going to be mistaken to be a Boogaloo boy.
Really?
Yeah, because they all wear a Hawaiian shirt.
You look like one.
What?
You
look
like one of the Boogaloo Boys. Yeah. Where's your Confederate
Well, I don't
flag?
want to be considered what is it, a Karen? Is that it?
Oh,
Ken.
yeah.
Ken. You'd be Ken.
A Ken?
Karen and Ken. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you this too, Alex, and even Phil, what Phil would think, and even everybody on the panel. You know, you got to realize too, you got high unemployment because of the COVID. We all shut it in, like you said.
Yeah.
People are going to start getting on edge, really.
Well, I mean, they already have. They already have. I mean, all these fireworks. Have you ever seen all these fireworks in past years?
Never for a week long, and I've been here my whole life. Never like that.
Yeah. Again, it's part of that blowing steam. You know, people are going. I told Marjorie during the winter. I said, I don't want to be here in April and May. I said, it's going to go berserk. And sure enough, it's going berserk. You know. But you know, Phil, don't complain about people shooting guns in New York City because you believe in guns.
Your murder rate is
yeah,
100%.
And what were they murdered with?
Oh, they were murdered with guns and
okay, guns, Phil, guns.
Yeah. Well, while you're sitting there worried about taking the guns off the street, they're going to be shooting at you. And I'm going to be able to protect myself.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, right. Yeah, because you're better at you're better at shooting than they are.
Hey, Phil.
Yes, I am.
How about these times when babies are laying in their beds at night and there's stray gunfire and it goes through a window and kills the baby? There's no protecting yourself from that.
No, there isn't. And what you got to do is you got to enforce the laws that are out there. Do you think that those guys are good guys with a gun? That are shooting through people's houses?
Oh, yeah, they're good guys with a gun because they think they're good guys.
Your gun is not going to protect you most of the time. We're not walking around like we're in the Old West with it on our hips.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Get in the middle of the street and walk 10 paces and turn around and fire?
No, I wouldn't be that fair to the guy. But you know, there's something called a color code, where in white you're walking around unaware. And then there are other colors: yellow, orange.
There's
red,
another color
black.
code. There's another color code. It's blue on black.
Well, for the 9 blacks that were killed by the blue, there were many, many more whites.
Oh, you got that from Trump. Oh, shame on you, Phil. You got that from Trump. That's right out of the Trump.
The president of the United States gets some accurate information.
He doesn't get any information because he can't listen to anything for more than 5 minutes.
Well, that's more.
Barbie said that shit today too.
What'd you say, Kevin?
I said Barbie said that shit today too, and then walked off.
But he had plenty of time to pose with Goya beans.
Oh yeah,
on the Resolute desk.
You know something? Can I say something? That if you're president of the United States, there's something wrong with being a spokesperson for a product.
And his daughter did it too.
And even if you're no longer president, most of people who were you don't hear about Bill Clinton endorsing products or Obama, who would be a great spokesman for something because he's very popular. Yeah, or George Bush. No, because you don't promote products. And there he is in the Oval Office with Goya products on his desk.
What he was
you gotta look up.
The guy donated millions of dollars and.
And do you know how many Goya products I'm going to buy from here on in?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like Mexican food, but you know what? I'd buy Goya products if they made anything that I could buy.
You got to look up Colbert's opening thing last night. He put Ivanka with the beans.
Yeah.
And you can only imagine what he did with it.
What did he do?
Oh, he laid in all kinds of fart noises every time she was showing the beans, and she'd walk across the stage and threw fart noises into that, and it was awesome.
Gabnet had that last week on their.
I was almost tonight. I looked in our pantry, and I guess fortunately we don't have any Goya products in our house, but I was looking to see if we did because I thought I remembered seeing some Goya beans or something like that because I was going to put it in back of me here, so that, you know.
Yeah, it was basically a commercial for Goya beans, and she was walking through there and said, "Look at Goya, farting and everything." It was awesome.
Yeah. So I mean,
money.
that was not good of the president. But then again, you know, he's using the White House for everything wrong.
Yeah, it's low rent. It's embarrassing.
And it is the people's house after all. It's not his. He is just, as Obama put it in a documentary I saw recently. He said, "We're just the tenants. You know, we're just here for a short time."
If Trump
He's been doing that all along, though. Every time he goes up and he does 15 minutes of introducing CEOs and their companies and how good they are. And
did you see the My Pillow guy?
My Pillow press conference.
Yeah. Hey, can you imagine if he mispronounced the Goya product name and called it Goyam?
Didn't work.
I wish I had the sound of crickets here. Yeah,
guys don't speak Yiddish.
Nope. I could speak enough to say.
Jeff knows what Goyam is.
I know what Goyam
is. Rob knows what Goyam is, and he's Goyam.
Yeah, we're up on Long Island. I don't know what Goyam is. Me.
Yeah.
You know, Charlie probably knows what Goyam is.
Yeah.
Like for Munda cheese.
You
know. Rob, I had an idea for Alex for a promo. He could do 1960s protest songs record album, you know, selling them in the middle of the night, you know, hits of the 60s, you know, the way it was, we're not going to take it anymore, you know.
Can't play it.
Yeah. No. It's just advertising the names. You remember how they used to have hits of the 50s?
But they always backed them with the songs. Like you hear 5 seconds, 10 seconds of the song, the hook of the song.
Every third song they listed, they would play a little bit of. Yeah.
Like the hook of the song.
Yeah. Oh, you mean for like the...
like the K-Tel Records presents.
Right, exactly. But have Alex doing it with protest songs of the 60s.
Why?
It would be a good spot.
Why?
Why not?
Never even occurred to me to do it.
Well, that's why I mention it. There's a lot of things that never occurred to you.
I hated most of those protest songs.
I understand. It's supposed to be a spoof.
Like Phil Oakes?
Well, Phil Oakes. I knew Phil, and I like Phil's work. Phil's work was terrific.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
He had that one AM hit that really wasn't a protest song or something, where the girl gets dragged in the bushes or something like that.
No, I think, are you talking about Small Circle of Friends?
Yeah. That wasn't
It's a great song. Great song.
Yeah, it is a great song, yeah.
Yeah.
That was an AM hit when there was only AM radios, pretty much.
Yeah. But he, that was a sad story, what happened with him.
Yeah, they were going to make Sean Penn was going to make a movie about him, but never got around to it. Or I don't know what happened.
Did you live in Berkeley?
No. I lived in New York. I loved Phil, but he had some really emotional mental problems that weren't being dealt with, and eventually killed himself. You know, I saw him a couple of days before he killed himself. Close friends with a woman who's cut him down. You know, it was a sad thing. It was. We all knew it was going to happen. You know, I remember the last night I saw Phil was at a club here in New York, and he came in and he was just, I think he was drunk and he was ranting and he was raving, and I and everybody else that knew him kind of avoided him, and they didn't avoid him because in that bar because they didn't want to be associated with him. They avoided him because they didn't want him to be embarrassed by the fact that his friends saw him in this condition. And so we didn't do anything. He left, and a couple of days later, he had tried to kill himself several times. This time he was successful at it. So, but if anybody doesn't know who I'm talking about, look up Phil Oakes and go to iTunes or whatever and listen to some Phil Oakes, because his stuff was amazing. It was just amazing. He was better than Dylan. Okay, my opinion. Anyway.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
Did you know Valerie Solanas?
No. No, that was the woman. That was the woman who killed Andy Warhol. Shot Andy Warhol.
Shot Andy Warhol, and she wrote the book. What was it? the Cut Up Men Manifesto or something like that.
Yeah. Didn't she wind up committing suicide?
No, you know what? That's the thing I was going to say. There was this article in the New York Times about obituaries that never made it in there, and I was reading her obituary. She went to jail, and when she got out of jail, she moved back to San Francisco, and she died in the Tenderloin Hotel right around the corner from my house.
Oh wow! Yeah.
It was really weird. It said, yeah, her body laid in the hotel for like about 5 days, and they found her. There was maggots on her body.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let's hear what's happening here with Brian and his daughter.
Oh, I thought I was on mute. You go. He's going to invite you from now on and not me. You want to stay on the show? When I go to bed?
Okay, wait a minute. Let me ask you. Adrian? Can you hear me, Adrian? Can I ask you a question? What do you think of Donald Trump?
Don't scare the poor kid.
No. You ask the other two, and they have a comment. She doesn't know that much now. Okay.
Oh, she's posing, isn't she? She's doing a whole posing thing.
I know. No,
it's going to be terrible when she hits 15. Your life is going to be hell.
You know Blackpink? Have you seen Blackpink? Those are the 4 Korean girls that do all the songs.
No.
She follows them and dances nonstop, and they do all this sexy stuff. Yeah. Okay, go on. Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna pick her up and toss her in the room. I'll be back.
You're gonna toss her in the room? Well, yeah, she is small enough to toss her. Kid tossing, ladies and gentlemen, on the Ramble. Boy, and you have another daughter, right?
Yes, another daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, and
yeah, she's 12 years old. And, she hid behind here. She closes the door, she fakes it, and she runs under my desk.
Is she there right now?
Yeah, she's right here.
I thought you closed the door. I didn't see it open.
She just wants your attention, you know. And if I had the chance to give my kids the attention that they wanted again, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
I wish you people, a lot of you who are listening to the audio version of this, could see what's going on. But this kid is straight out of Central Casting, you know.
No, just before here. No, she does tennis. So we hit 100 balls just before the show. And she does basketball now, and so she does piano. All the kids are very active. So
wow.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what else was happening in the news today that doesn't have to do with Trump. Trump was fairly quiet today, I think, wasn't he? Am I mistaken, or did he actually?
I think so,
yeah. You know what somebody said about Joe Biden? I was hearing a discussion about Joe Biden and his candidacy. They said his only job between now and November is to not get in the way.
That's right.
You know, just give your speeches, do your ads. If there's a debate, go to the debate.
Stick to the script.
But stick to the script. Play it safe. He's got an advantage with the COVID virus because the usual ways of campaigning are not going to happen. He's not going to have to go from city to city to campaign. Just stay cool. Don't do much. Don't say much. You'll win.
No windsurfing.
Who's pulling his strings?
What do you mean?
Nobody's pulling his strings.
Yeah, somebody is feeding him what to say. They're telling him to stay in his basement.
He's not in, Phil, to begin with, he's not in his basement any longer.
Yeah, he comes out for 4 minutes.
No, he goes around. He's gone around to several venues, Phil, and given speeches.
Yeah, he gave a good speech last week.
Yeah, and he wasn't in the basement.
How many people fell asleep during that speech, John?
But do you think there's many people on the fence? Do you think there's many people still trying to figure out who they want, or do you think that they're?
I think that here's what gives with the whole thing. Under normal conditions, I think going up against anybody, Biden he probably wouldn't even be the nominee, to be honest with you. But given this situation, everybody is so anxious to see Trump gone because they've got Trump fatigue. Okay, You know, for a while it all seemed kind of cute. You know, he would say something, we make fun of it. And he'd say something, we make fun of it. It's 4 years later now, and we're exhausted. Yeah. And the people who, a lot of people who voted for him are exhausted too. You know, you got to remember that he didn't win the popular vote. So really, Biden doesn't have to work that hard to win. He just has to get some of those states lined up that he didn't get before, and he's got those. Some of them by double digits. You know, so, and you say, well, yeah, but it's too early. No, it's not. We're 4 months away from the election. 4 months from, well, less than 4 months. What? Yeah, this is July. Let's see, July. August, September, October, November. 4 months. And that's a very short amount of time. So, you know, maybe there'll be an October surprise, but I think it'll be on Trump and not on him.
I think that they're coming up with some stuff. Durham is saying that he doesn't want to influence the election.
Durham?
Durham, yeah, he may have.
Who's Durham?
He's got nothing.
Durham.
Huh?
He's the independent guy that's looking into the Russia.
The origins of the Russia investigation.
No, I haven't even heard of this guy.
It's going to be a big flat nothing.
And, you know, they just found out today that Steele's employee was the one that came up with the stuff for the Steele report that they used as the dossier. So some heads are going to roll in this.
What, the dossier? There's a lot of the stuff in that dossier that was valid.
There was nothing that was valid in there.
Shit.
There's a lot of things that were valid.
Yeah, a lot of things you wish were valid.
No.
Name me one thing that was proven invalid. Name me one thing.
Hookers?
That wasn't proven invalid. We still don't know.
We don't know. That has not been disproven yet.
No, you're just sticking your fingers.
It's not been disproven, Phil. It's not. In all deference, wait a minute. In all deference to Trump, it has not been disproven, but it has not been proven either.
Well, it's
okay.
It's hard to prove a negative, you know. You can't, you know, when somebody accuses you of something that's.
I said it has not been proven that he did that.
You mean like proving that you're not an American?
Well, that was easy, and Obama probably forged those documents.
Yeah, when he was a little baby.
Phil, how? At what point do you finally say, I think I have to get my dignity back? Yeah. You know? Because, Phil, you say, oh, look at what Matt Crash has written. You ready for me to read from the chat room? Shut up, Phil. 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 Then somebody writes, shut up, Matt. Then he writes, shut up, Phil. Shut up, Phil. Shut up, Phil. Shut up, Phil. Then somebody writes, shut up, Mac. It's pretty much, he's written, shut up, Phil.
Hey, you know, that's what the left tries to do. They try to silence people.
Phil,
they try to
am I the left?
Yes, you are, but you're the exception.
Oh, I see.
That's why we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Roger Stone didn't try and silence anybody when he was intimidating people and threatening people. That was not trying to silence anybody.
Look at Roger Stone. Charlie, look at Roger Stone with the bow tie. Who's he going to intimidate? Mr. Rogers?
He got convicted of tampering with witnesses.
Tampering. The only person he can intimidate is Mr. Rogers. Come on.
Mr. Rogers is dead.
That is true. I used to watch that show.
I know.
He intimidated him. Killed him.
What was your favorite character on Mr. Rogers? Good King Friday?
I remember he had the episode with the postman. Remember he put his feet in the water? That was supposed to be racial harmony or something, I remember as a kid.
I like the last thing like that I used to watch was Captain Kangaroo.
You know, I can't say I ever saw an episode of Mr. Rogers, but then again, I was too old for Mr. Rogers by the time he came on. I also never watched Captain Kangaroo. Yeah.
That suit would drive me crazy. Didn't he have that like red suit?
Captain Kangaroo only in San Francisco?
No, Captain Kangaroo was all over the country.
Did you see Wonderama with Sonny Fox?
I remember that. Yeah.
No, that was local. That was local here in New York.
Remember Mayor Art?
Mayor Art was San Francisco. Art Finley.
Art Agnew?
Romper Room.
No, Art Finley.
What about Romper Room? Was that San Francisco? Romper Room?
Yeah. Romper Room was everywhere. Romper
that
Room
was like a syndicated program.
Well, it wasn't syndicated. Wait a minute. Hold on a second, Rob. It wasn't syndicated exactly.
What do they call that?
It was
like
franchise.
Bozo the Clown.
It was
franchise. Because Bozo the Clown, the same thing.
Yeah, but there was a different Bozo. There was
Right.
let me finish, Phil. There was a different Bozo the Clown in every town.
The same thing with Romper Room. The host was
In, for instance, out where Phil lives, Bozo the Clown is Phil. So,
which one had a sock puppet?
Sherry Lewis?
Sherry Lewis.
well, she was national.
Yeah.
Remember Charlie and Humphrey?
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I guess that was only the Bay Area.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Devine.
Andy
We had
Devine. Well,
Sandy
actually, Andy Devine. Everybody talks about Andy's gang, and it bothers me because when I was a kid growing up, I listened to radio, and there was a program called Smilin' Ed McConnell's, Smilin' Ed McConnell and the Smilin' Ed McConnell gang, and it was all those characters: Squeaky the whatever, the frog and the cat, Squeaky the cat, and so on. And
Hiya, kids. It's
then when
Friday.
they went to television, Smilin' Ed did it for, I think, a year, and it wasn't working that well. So he owned the show, but he went out and he got Andy Devine, who had been in movies for years, to be Andy for Andy's gang. But he wasn't the guy who originated that. It was Smilin' Ed McConnell. So, but he worked great on radio.
And I used to watch your friend McCann. He was
Chuck
a
McCann.
Cop.
Chuck McCann. Oh.
Didn't he play a cop in the, on his show?
Chuck
In New
McCann
York?
Chuck McCann did a show here in New York, which I never saw because
Let's have
I never
fun.
lived in New York during that time. I got to know Chuck after that.
Yeah.
It's just like I was good friends with Gene Shepard, okay? But I didn't know Gene during the days when he was doing all the radio stuff. And the reason Gene was, if I mentioned Gene Shepard, people who grew up in New York, hey, ask Jeff. You remember Gene Shepard, Jeff?
Of course.
Yeah, Gene Shepard, and to me he was just Gene. I used to have dinner at my friend's house, and he used to come over for dinner. We'd all hang out,
Did he tell stories in person like he would
Yes,
tell
the
them?
problem I told you the story. The time that I was at Earl Dowd's house for dinner, and there was Gene Shepard, and Shep was. We were talking about him, and all of a sudden he started telling this story about when he was a young kid and his father was driving down the road. And the thing is that if people don't know who I'm talking about, the voice in Christmas Story is Gene Shepard. That movie is from a story by Gene Shepard, okay? And he was just doing one of his stories where he would elaborate. I mean, like, we're driving down the road, and then we got to a fork in the road. We didn't know whether we should go left. We didn't know whether we should go right. Should we go left? Should we go right? And, he would elaborate and elaborate. And he's telling this kind of story at the dinner table. And finally, I'm through eating, and I'm getting tired of hearing this damn story about will we go right or will we go left. And I go into the living room, and I turn on the Joe Franklin TV show, which was on about that time. And who does he have on for a guest? Gene Shepard, who is telling the same story he was telling at the dinner table.
That's the real.
Now, if you know who Gene Shepard was, that's a very funny story.
Is he on YouTube?
Huh?
That's the way his show was.
Yeah, that's the way his show was. I think you can get a lot of Gene Shepard stuff online. Yeah. And kids would listen to him. Every kid I ever knew said that he used to listen. He listened to him under the sheets, so the parents wouldn't know the kid was listening to this radio program.
That's how I used to listen to Alex Bennett.
Really?
On WMCA, yep. I was 12, 13.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to this guy on a little transistor radio hidden from my parents.
Oh, boy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did that to you.
Was that before San Francisco?
Yes, New York.
Yeah, that was that was before I ever worked San Francisco. Yeah,
okay.
I mean I worked San Rafael before that, but everybody told me the only way you're going to get to work in San Francisco is to leave San Francisco, go out, and then come back in. Right, get your reputation and come back in. Then you can work in San Francisco. Well, I finally got to New York, and I'm going, is this far enough? And then I thought about it, and I went, this is the biggest market in the world, I don't think I need San Francisco. And then when I was finally out of work and I had a chance to go back to San Francisco, I went back to San Francisco. And somebody said, why do you think you were a success that time in San Francisco? And I said, because I was trying to get even. You know, so. Anyway.
And was that Rob, that was a night show?
Yeah. What time were you on?
Well, I was on several times, but the time maybe you heard me was when I was on from 1 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock.
Not on WMCA, you were.
No, on WPLJ I was on from 2 to. I was
older by then.
I was on from 2 to 6 in the morning.
But I remember I wouldn't have been up at 1 o'clock in the morning listening to you at that age.
Well, I also at WMCA I was also
like 10 p.m.
I did have a 10 p.m. shift later on at WMCA. Yeah. So.
Was that a lot of talk, or was that just music, or
there was no music?
It was a lot of talk, but it was also music. I mean, it was a music station, in which we had some talk shows, of which I was one of them.
Yeah, you didn't play music.
Yeah. But, yeah, boy, so you listen to me from under
Was
the
Live
sheets.
105 the first time you were doing a lot of the comedy stuff?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Before that, in New York, I was doing a lot of music people and radical political people.
Yeah.
So
have the comedians at Camel. Used to have comedians come in at Camel.
KMEL, yeah. Well, that's when it started. That's when I first had Bobby Slayton on and Jeremy Kramer and so on. But here in New York, I was basically known as the youth guru. You know, that's the title the New York Times gave me. Youth guru, Alex Bennett. Everywhere I would see my name, I thought my first name was going to be Youth Guru. You know. And it's very hard to lose that kind of reputation. So I went to San Francisco and I got the reputation of being the comedy guru, Alex Bennett. You know, so at least I felt that was better because that wouldn't date me, you know. So anyway, it's funny. There are people who live in San Francisco Bay Area and there are people who lived in New York. And people who know me from New York know an entirely different existence of Alex Bennett from the one in San Francisco. In San Francisco, I was doing the comedians. In New York, I was doing the music people. I was the first person to literally interview rock people. Nobody was interviewing rock people. I thought, hey, it's kind of interesting. I would call record companies and say, could you send me some of your performers? And they say, you want to interview our performers? Can you imagine that? And I said, yeah. So I started doing a show where I had him. Elton John, the first time he ever appeared on a radio program in the United States, was on my show in New York.
You know what doesn't make sense when because I find it interesting that you were interviewing the musicians because you would think your bosses would want the musicians in it.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't have that concept of that was the way you promoted their music. They didn't, and nobody was ever calling them up and saying, "Hey, we want to interview, you know, Elton John or somebody like that." You know. So.
Wow, get him in, but playing his music. Let's see what he has to say. I mean,
Kevin, do you remember me at all in the Bay Area?
Was that?
Do you remember me at all in the Bay Area?
Absolutely. I used to listen to you every single morning loading trucks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, you know. And you listened to me, Rob, when you were growing up. Charlie never heard of me. Charlie never heard of me.
Live 105, Camel.
I must be.
Unless somehow you lived in Houston and heard me in Houston. That's possible.
You're the only talk show I ever called into.
Oh, really?
On WPLJ, I called in once.
Wow. The WPLJ, that show was, that was my...
WMTA used to have lots of contests where you could win a sweatshirt or, but they had the call-in contests. My friend Barry always, he had that number. He could dial it so fast. And
well, they had a great promotion, idea for a promotion. And that idea was this: they had the WMCA Good Guys sweatshirts, of which I have a rip-off of them here, but have I ever worn it on the show? I don't think so. But they had the Good Guys sweatshirts with the smile, kind of what later on became the smiley face. And it's a WMCA Good Guy, and the only way you could get one, you couldn't buy one. You had to win one. And they were always holding events where, come get your WMCA Good Guys sweatshirt. I mean, these were great sweatshirts. They gave away, in their time as a radio station in New York, 1 million of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Matt Crash wants to know if you were ever friends with Don Imus.
Not really.
Yeah, well, who was?
Not really. I knew who Don Imus was. I knew he also stole from me a lot.
Yeah, well, him and Howard used to have.
Well, what happened was,
time.
we could. The argument goes back and forth with Howard and I, but with Imus, I would do a bit at 5 o'clock in the morning on my show at WPLJ. I would say something, make a joke, whatever. Then I'd be driving home and I'd tune into Imus and he's using the same joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Howard and Imus used to go back and forth, and then I remember you and Howard used to go back and forth, but I always sided with you and Howard.
Yeah.
Because Howard definitely stole from you. I don't care what they say.
Oh, well, Howard did.
Yeah.
Howard grew up in the Long Island, so he grew up listening to Alex, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has admitted to people privately that I was a major influence on him.
But I think he's come around a little in the last couple of years.
But he's never admitted it.
Right.
You know, I mean, he could have saved me a lot of trouble in life.
Yeah.
You know, if he had just
Got
admitted
pretty
it.
heated there for a while.
You know, I mean, he could have saved my ass at Sirius. He could have put me on one of his stations and just moved my show over there.
True.
Yeah, and we asked to do that, and we were turned down. I
think Sirius had holds Howard responsible for the salaries of those who were on his channels.
Yes. Well, what happened was Howard was given $100 million a year, but he was given 2 channels, and he was going to be given a third, but he was given 2 channels, and then he had to populate those other channels with radio, with programming.
Right.
But in the end, it just wound up being repeats of Howard.
Right.
And he kept all the money.
And those Bubba and Jackie, they all got booted.
Bubba the Love Sponge he had on there, and so on. And I would have been a perfect fit for him,
Yeah.
But no, wasn't to be. And Howard didn't. So those channels never became what they were supposed to be.
Right.
And he at the beginning he said, "Oh, I'm going to be able to hire all the people who are great and terrific, and I influenced, and I'll bring them over here and we'll do shows." And the only person he brought over was Bubba the Love Sponge, which is the worst act in history.
And he had that sports guy for a little while.
He had Pharrell. He was terrible.
Pharrell, yeah.
Yeah. What happened to him? He got into trouble, didn't he?
He did, I think.
Yeah. He went back to terrestrial radio in the AM and got in trouble there, and now he's doing podcasting.
Really? That's where we all go after it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bubba's now on AM radio, I believe.
Yeah.
Did you hear the money that Joe Rogan got from Spotify?
Yeah, they're giving him $1 million a year or something, or
no, like $100 million.
$100 million a year to go to.
There are podcasters out there making money now.
Really?
Yeah.
It finally happened.
Well, I think there's gonna be buyer's remorse on that one.
So it's easy. Like if they're on, they could track how many people watch, and it's it's act like the ratings. People are watching the shit out of YouTube.
It's all about how much money
I noticed
advertising.
I also noticed that isn't there an affiliation between a podcast and, like, I saw one and it just popped up on my Facebook thing with Maria Menounos, but she sports a podcast, but she has a Sirius XM microphone.
Because she's on Sirius XM, Maria.
I don't know.
So,
I just
no,
noticed
she
it
is.
today.
I've heard her on Sirius XM.
So they've got both. So is she just
could be simulcast
podcast to it, or is it, I don't know.
Could be. Could be excerpts of a radio program that they put on.
My biggest problem in life is I had a ton of swag that I got when I worked at Sirius XM. I got 10 Sirius XM caps, 20 Sirius XM of T-shirts of various varieties, a Sirius XM T-shirt, blah 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 blah. I don't wear them anymore. I won't wear them anywhere. You know,
their stock is still $4 or $5.
Yeah, it's still $4 or $5. Yeah. although when I first, there are people who had stock at Sirius from the old days where they kept vesting them stock and it went down to 5 cents. Yeah. But they held on to it, and eventually now it's worth a lot of money.
If you bought a lot of it.
Yeah. I wish the day they went on, we're almost going to go under. It was at 5 cents a share, and I wish I had said to Gary, my business manager, go out and buy $10,000 worth. You know how much? How much that'd be worth today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'd be worth over $1 million. Yes, Jeff.
Did you ever get any T-shirts from Florida?
Oh, from W. What was the station I was on? WIOD. WIOD. You know what it stood for? Island of Dreams.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We were out on one of those causeways in the middle of it. No, I had never got one of their T-shirts, and if I did get it, I may have burned it. That was the most unpleasant experience of my life. So. But it was nice talking about my career. We sure wasted a lot of time. At least it got us off Trump.
Yeah.
Was IOD an AM station or FM?
AM.
AM.
Yeah.
When I lived in Miami, I think that's what I listened to, and there was a real right-wing guy that was on there. I think his name was Paul something. And
Paul Harvey?
Good day.
People used to call up and they hated him. I can't remember his name, but I think his first name was Paul. And this is in the early 70s.
No. That was the most unpleasant experience of my life, but I don't, I've kind of washed it out of my head, but it was not fun. But then I went back to San Francisco and they rehired me, and, that was fine. That was good. Anyway, enough of my career, but at least it got us a lot of people listening. I don't know why. Yeah. My career is one of the dullest stories in history. And you can hear all 69 parts of it right now. I have to do one. I haven't done the latest I've Got Cancer episode on every instance of my life in 59 episodes on life in the passing lane. Hey, I got to play the theme here, Phil, and then Jeff, thank you so very much, and of course Charlie Wallace, we appreciate it. John Larkin, which is his real name, okay?
Bud Doses.
Yeah, instead of Bud Doses.
Get him in trouble.
And Brian Neary and Jennifer. We have to give Jennifer some credit for having a part of this program. Rob, I love seeing you there with that studio. I'm so jealous. I wish I had that studio. Well, I kind of do here in a way, but it's not as neat and as nice as that.
Hook up that Behringer I gave you, and if you didn't throw it away.
No, I didn't throw it away. And what are you showing? What are you showing us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's the Behringer. I see. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, I think you're talking to me. That's actually what runs the radio station when it's not live.
Oh, okay. Wow. Thank you. Let's see here. Who else didn't I thank? Oh, Tony. And, of course, Kevin. Always good having you here, Kevin. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give you a big wave goodbye back. Okay? There we go. There goes our citizen panel for tonight. We use Zoom, and they have been Zoomed, and they are going away now. And the next show will use Skype, by the way, and that happens to be Jack Bishop and The Intersection. I'll see you again tomorrow night, same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, stay safe and wear a mask, okay? Bye.